question again. What is swing?
What makes it swing? What's the rhythmic? Okay, so you can talk about music as relief. It makes me feel good. It inspires me. It excites me. You're mentioning emotional things, right? So what's the mechanical, quantitative element? What makes a piece of music swing? What makes jazz different from a marching band? What makes jazz different from Earth, Wind, and Fire? I'm not challenging. I'm just curious. I want to know.
To me, a lot of special colored chords, like harmony.
The harmony? But what about the rhythm? I've heard so much about the rhythm of jazz. Okay. Would you say it's a triplet has something to do with it?
It's not exactly triplet. Sometimes it is, but that is... well, when I first learned the swing beat, very obviously the teacher told me it's not exactly triplet, so I should not practice.
So what is it?
Triplet way. It's something between a triplet and a dotted 16th.
Yeah.
And everyone
Like
has
what?
their own different swinging time.
Fine. It's still not telling me what it is.
You're putting me in very difficult.
Hard to put music into words, huh?
Exactly.
Okay. So, oftentimes you'll hear that the triplet is the basis of jazz. It's an important part of the swing rhythm. Your teacher was correct to say it's not exactly a triplet. But if you think of, ding, ding, a ding, ding, a doodle, 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 more or less a triplet, right? But if we were only excuse me, camera, I'm going to... A lot of triplets there, right? Is that swing? No, that's pretty square. That's Lawrence Welk, in fact. That would be the epitome of anti-jazz. So, it's like, well, that's interesting because we think of swing as having a triplet feel. But now let's think about bebop. That sounds like jazz, right? You hear triplet?
No.
Eighth notes. But what makes those eighth notes sound like jazz? Two things. The offbeat is like the offbeat's accented a little bit. That's part of that tension release or relief that you feel. The more important component, mechanical, qualitative as well as quantitative aspect or ingredient, is that the notes are legato. It's not so it has a wonderful vocal quality. The words are connected. It does not sound like this. It's not staccato. So legato is really the key thing. And so not only when we're working on a basic beat or rhythm, but when you're developing the language of how to play the drum, and you learn how to play legato. Well, how do you play legato? Number one, it's intent, singing through a phrase. But number two, it's learning how to use stickings to your advantage. And that's why the drummers who are, and you know this in snare drum, if it's all alternate stickings, it's going to sound one way. But as soon as you start playing diddles, You know, do better, did it. Those diddles, those double strokes, give the sense of legato. It's this kind of magical phrasing thing. So it's a rounder rhythmic phrase. And then that's what makes certain drummers' drumming sound. So it gives you that sense of relief because they're playing legato. And there's a series of exercises you can do to help develop this. And I'll be happy to send them to you if you want.
Thanks.
Using stickings. And so what I have my students do, and as far as transcribing goes, going back to your other question, I find this to be of as much or even more value. I have them transcribe trumpet solos, tenor solos, so they can start to appreciate and learn articulation and phrasing, the way horn players play, and the fact that horn players have to take a breath, so that their drumming will begin to take a breath. So it's not just, nonstop. And that's part of the advantage that drummers have. You can keep playing without having to reboot the stickings. But it always sounds better when you do take a breath. Excuse me, telephone.
The next question is, what are the essential elements and roles that a drummer should carry or perform in a band?
Well, the answer goes back to kind of the previous discussion we just had. Just play what you'd like to hear. Mm-hmm. Play what makes the music sound better. Mm-hmm. And if it's a simple beat, great. If it's a more complicated beat, that's okay too. Everything's okay if the music sounds good. If it doesn't sound or feel good, then maybe that's not the best selection or choice. Mm-hmm. It's that simple.
That's great.
And it's also that personal or subjective. Mm-hmm. So there's no single answer. That's the beauty of it. Is that, I have one opinion, and Russ Miller has an opinion, and Thomas Lang has an opinion, and that's what makes it fun.
I see.